In our last video, we talked about Chinese current events. If you haven't watched that yet, I suggest you watch it first. If you have, keep on watching. In this video, we are going to be giving you an overview in timeline format of Chinese history.
1700 to 1046 BC. The Shang dynasty brings most of north-central China together. It is the first dynasty to be written about in Chinese history.
221 to 206 BC, King Ying Chang unifies the majority of China and is the first leader to use the term emperor. He ends up being known as Qing Shuangji, or First Qin Emperor. Under his rule, the first Great Wall of China is built. Despite being fairly successful, his empire falls apart when he dies. During this time of instability, the Han dynasty is created by Liu Bang.
206 BC to 220 AD. During the Han Dynasty, the first Chinese Golden Age occurs. Specifically, Confucianism spreads as the official philosophy. Buddhism starts to enter the country and improves the economy.
618 to 907. Following the collapse of the Han Dynasty and Sui Dynasty, the Tang Dynasty unifies China for almost 300 years. The Tang Dynasty is considered the second highest point of Chinese history after the Han Dynasty due to the fact that the imperial influence stretches across Central Asia for the first time.
960 to 1279. Even though the Song Dynasty has a weak military and political system in comparison to the Tang Dynasty, it is an important part of Chinese culture. During the Song Dynasty, a lot of literature is produced and there are scientific breakthroughs.
1271 to 1368. The Mongols take over China. In China, the Mongol dynasty by the name of Yuan Dynasty is created by Kublai Khan. During this dynasty, Westerners visit the country and Beijing is made the capital of China.
1368. The Yuan Dynasty ends and is replaced by the Ming Dynasty. During this dynasty, the agricultural economy is improved and the Great Wall is created to look similar to what it looks like now.
19th century. The Qing dynasty deteriorates and warlords rise.
1931 to 1945. Japan enters and occupies China at a steady pace.
1949. After over 20 years of civil war, there is a communist victory over the nationalists due to Mao Zedong. With this victory is the creation of the People's Republic of China. The nationalists move to Taiwan and create their own government.
1966 to 1976. Mao's Cultural Revolution occurs. Under this campaign, there's a reviving of revolution spirit that results in a major social, economic, and political issues. 1989. Demonstrators that have been inside Tiananmen Square for weeks are fired upon by Chinese troops. The demonstrators entered the square to show their desire for democracy. 200 people were killed.
1992. Russia and China sign a formal agreement to be friendly with each other.
2001. China becomes a part of the World Trade Organization.
2002. America interprets the modernizing of the Chinese military as the country's preparation to force Taiwan to unite with China. Officials in Beijing state that the policy, despite the military change, is purely defensive.
2003. The first manned spacecraft from China is sent into space in October. The spacecraft that is sent up is a Long March 2F rocket piloted by astronaut Yang Liwei.
2005. In April, after somewhat violent anti-Japanese protests in China that were started because China accused a Japanese textbook of sugarcoating Japan's involvement in World War II, Chinese relations with Japan began to fall apart.
2006. According to an official news agency, 18 million people are affected by a drought. The drought that hits in August is considered China's worst drought in 50 years.
2007. The US, Japan, and other countries show concern for military buildup in China. This is because in January, reports out of China said that China had done a missile test in space and shot down a weather satellite.
2007. In April, Wen Jiabao speaks to the Japanese parliament and is the first Chinese prime minister to do so. After this, both countries agree to try to put aside their differences.
2008. A treaty is signed between China and Russia in July that ends a 40-year dispute over a border that led to fighting during the Cold War. 2009. During a protest in Xinjiang region that turned violent, many people are killed and hundreds are injured. The deaths and injuries are all the results of ethnic violence.
2010. The U.S. condemns China's strict censorships and starts an investigation in Beijing relating to cyber attacks. China is upset with the United States because it is criticizing China's control over the internet in Beijing.
2011. Chinese artist Ai Weiwei is arrested for economic crimes. This causes a huge uproar internationally with people demanding for his release. After more than 2 months in detention, he is freed.
2012. In May, there is a confrontation between Philippines and Chinese naval vessels in the South China Sea. The two confronted each other in the Scarborough Shoal Reef, which has a lot of oil and gas reserves.
2013. During the once-in-a-decade transfer of power in March, Xi Jinping took over as president. Once in power, he turned his focus to efficiency and anti-corruption.
2013. In November, the Communist Party makes revisions to its policies. This includes relaxing the one-child policy, which has been in place since 1979, and closes re-education through labor camps.
2014. In May, for the first time, 5 officers from the Chinese army are charged with industrial cyber espionage by the United States.
2015. In November, a meeting between the Chinese Chinese President Xi Jinping and Taiwanese President Ma Ying-jeou is held in Singapore. It is the first meeting between the two nations since the nation split in 1949 due to the Chinese Civil War. As much as we would love to discuss more Chinese history, we can't do that without going over 5 minutes. If you wish to learn more about Chinese history, check out our sources.
If you want to learn more about China in general, I suggest you subscribe to us. Subscribing is free and should notify you when we upload a video.
Stick around, you just might learn something.